Welcome back. According to the Canadian Network of Women's Shelters and Transition Houses survey released in March 2014, on one day, 242 shelters in Canada helped over 6,500 women and children. On the same day, almost 500 women and children could not be accommodated. These numbers are shocking, to say the least. Like other communities, the Muslim community hopes to do its part to help vulnerable women and young children. The National Zakat Foundation recently founded women's transitional homes known as Nissa Homes that provides a safe haven for Muslim women facing a transitional period of housing uncertainty. Joining me to learn more about Nissa Homes is Zena Chaudhry, house operator of Nissa Homes. Welcome to the show, Zena.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got involved with Nissa Homes.
I actually come from an educational background that doesn't have anything to do with what I do right now at Nissa Homes.
And what's your educational background?
So I have a Master's of Laws in International Human Rights Law.
Wow.
But coming to Nissa Homes, I think, was like the biggest blessing that I could possibly get. It's something that I wake up every day, and I'm so thankful that this is a job I do and I get to help people. So Nissa Homes, as a whole, is a set of women's transitional homes. We have one in Vancouver and we have one in the GTA. And what we do is we help women who are facing housing instability, food insecurity, escaping domestic violence, or just basically cannot live or afford to live on their own at this point in time. So we have a variety of women who come to us.
And it's probably not specific to single women, right? If it's a domestic abuse situation, then they're generally fleeing.
So we accept children, like female children up to any age, and then male children up to the age of 16.
Okay, so how does Nissa Homes seek to help and support these women? So tell me a little bit about what the process is.
So what we are there to do, basically our mission, I would say, is to empower women to find ways to basically live and strive on their own once they leave our home. So what we like to do is we have programs for them. We help them with getting housing, if it's through a housing stabilization fund, or if it's through subsidized housing, or even finding something like that they can rent. So to do that, in order to help them get the income, we either help them apply for welfare, we help them find jobs, we help them if they're going back to school to do that. So every case is completely different. So we don't have a set plan for everybody. So as soon as we get an application in, we sit with them and we go through what they like to do and what their goals are, so we know how we're going to help them exactly.
And where their specific needs are, and then I guess you help them
exactly,
out accordingly. Yeah. Can you share a story of women who came into your home and then you guys were able to help them?
Yeah, so one of the first cases I ever actually worked on, she came to us from a domestic violence situation. She came to us and we found out that she was doing a master's program. So our first thing was, that's great. So, she's out there, she's getting her education, and this is something that we want her to continue on. So she had also applied for welfare and for subsidized housing. So that was really good that she was on the ball with that. So we helped her with all her applications for those. We kept her, basically giving her deadlines, at this point this has to happen, this has to happen, just so she knew what she had to do by what time. Because it's we like to give them 3 months in the home, and in those 3 months we want them to achieve the goals that they have, just so they can get on with their lives as fast as possible.
So do you have someone specifically working with each woman to help them sort of, plan out what their goals are, where their gaps are, and within the 3 months, this is what you should accomplish?
So me and I have another sister Yasmin. So the two of us are the only people who work for Nissa Homes,
Wow.
Vancouver and for Toronto as well. So we do everything. So, sometimes we pull 12-hour days, but at the end of the day, the joy you get from helping someone, it doesn't matter how long you're working.
So tell me a little bit, what's the everything that you do?
So we do intake process, we meet with them, we have resident meetings with the whole house, we have one-on-one meetings with everybody every week. If there's children, we have meetings with children one-on-one as well. We help them do applications, we do outreach for the home, we do marketing for the home. We actually, Sister Yasmin and I made the website ourselves as well. So, we take on a lot of different roles.
You guys are a powerhouse in and of itself.
I don't know if I would say that, but we try and do everything that we can. Because we are a very small organization, so we wear a lot of different hats every day, and we do a lot of different roles every day.
So I'm really sorry. I think I interrupted your story. So you were telling me about
Right.
the lady who you were helping with her master's application, her process.
Yes. So she started going back to school, so we helped her figure out her transportation needs every day, what it was going to be like. And then alhamdulillah, a couple of weeks ago, she graduated.
Wow.
She finished her master's program. She moved out. and she got a job. So I mean, that to me is like she hit all 3 of her goals in less than 3 months. And to me, that was like the big success that I could imagine for her, and she's very happy now, alhamdulillah.
How receptive are women to getting help and fleeing domestic abuse? Because as we know, domestic abuse is not necessary. It's not a Muslim issue. It's a community issue, and there's generally a stigma associated to it. So how are you guys dealing with that?
So from the get-go, I think the issue pertains to everybody, right? Not only Muslims, not non-Muslims, but everybody. So a woman can see her friend going through something and be like, wow, like, you know, her partner's very abusive. But if it comes to her, she's like, no, he just had a bad day. So kind of breaking through the stigma of that and educating people about what domestic violence actually looks like, and kind of explain to them that, you know, it's not acceptable in any form. That's like a huge thing for us as well, that, you know, kind of putting it out there that if you are getting abused, it's not your fault. So you should be seeking help, and we are here to help you. And if you don't want to come to us, there's many other organizations that we refer them to.
So once they get to Nisa Homes, how do you find that they deal with the situation?
Some of them are very open to getting help, but the majority of them are very closed off. They don't want to share their story. They don't want to paint their partner in a bad light, is what I find. Even though, you know, they're going through this, but at the end of the day, that's someone that they're married to. That's someone that, you know,
they have a relationship with.
Exactly. So for us, you know, it's about building trust and about them trusting us that everything they say is confidential, that we're only here to help. We're not here to use their information in any other way. And, you know, kind of putting it out there that they're going to be able to get through this and live a happier life, that like happier than what they're living right now, and something that we want them to imagine a life where they don't live in fear anymore.
So how do you guys market Nisa Homes? Like, where is it located?
So it's actually a confidential address.
Okay.
Only people, it's on a need-to-know basis. So people who even work in our organization who don't need to know where it is, they don't know where it is.
Wow.
So
okay.
it's because a lot of the women are fleeing domestic violence situations, and the Muslim community is very tight-knit. So I mean, if someone lets it slip, I'm not saying that anyone's going to go out there and say it on purpose, but if someone does let it slip, that's something that puts everyone's safety at risk.
Well, and it's a security issue, right?
So it puts everyone's safety at risk, and that's something that we don't want.
So if it's confidential, how do women know about Nisa Homes?
So we do outreach with mosques and different other shelters, and also with different organizations. So what we do is a lot of our clients are referrals, not only from National Zakat Foundation, but also from different masjids and different shelters as well. So the women, they would hear about us, they would either fill out the application or they would call us, and dependent on every case is different. So if it's something that night that woman doesn't have a place to live, we would do her intake that night, no matter what time of night it was. We would go pick her up, do her intake, bring her to the house, and get her acquainted with everybody in the house and show her where her room is, give her a tour, and kind of, you know, go over what her goals are. Not everything in depth, obviously, because this is the first night she's there. We don't want to overwhelm her. But then there's cases where women, we have to help them come with a safety plan. So this is the day, if you're ready on this day and your husband is at work this day, this is the day you can leave. Make sure you have your papers with you, your documents, anything legal, your jobs, anything that you need. Make sure you have that with you and you're ready to go on this day while your husband's at work.
Wow.
So kind of making a safety plan so they're not in a situation where their husband's like, where are you going? And they're like, we don't know. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
just out of curiosity, in these types of situations, do you also have partnerships with police, or is that something later on down the road?
We haven't come to that yet. I would say we're very lucky in that sense that we haven't had to get the police involved yet. But it's something that we are seeking to do, just so if something does happen, we have that connection with them.
Definitely, that's very helpful. On a broader front, you mentioned that you guys have relationships now with the communities and the organizations. How has that response been in terms of that partnership, and are you finding that, you know, those partnerships are helping raise awareness about other issues in the community?
They are, because we, as I said, we work with mosques and we work with other shelters, but at the same time we also know a lot about government subsidies, government, we help them apply for welfare, help them apply for housing. So with these organizations, we know a lot about them, and for us it's really important also to educate the Muslim community as a whole about welfare, because I feel there's a huge stigma around welfare when essentially, like, it is another form. I wouldn't say it is zakat, but it's another form, because you are paying your taxes when you're working, and when it comes the time for you that you need EI or you need welfare, that's something that's there for you. It's available for you from the government.
Yeah, it's a service that you can access.
And a service that you've paid for as well, if you've been working paying taxes. So for us, it's huge for us to educate them about that and show them that, listen, this is there for you because you are a Canadian citizen, and this is a blessing for you that you have this service, and it's something that we're going to help you tap into, and like we're hopeful that it's going to help them at least like find their footing, and something else will help them get back on their feet.
And I'm assuming community organizations and mosques are probably very supportive.
They are. So we get some of our referrals from mosques as well. So women who end up there and they don't have anywhere to live, and at the end of the night they're closing up, and they're like, you know, sister, where are you going? And she's like, well, I don't have a place to live. And then we'll get a call. Like I once got a call last week at 3 a.m.
Wow.
And they're like, there's a sister here and she has nowhere to go. And so, I mean, going to the mosque, even talking, she didn't end up coming with us, but we did find her another place to stay where she was happy. So, I mean, even doing like little things like that, like just talking to her and, you know, having a conversation with her, it goes a long way.
What can the broader community do to support this initiative? Because, you know, it's obviously something that's very important.
Yeah. So right now what we're seeking to do is we only have one house in the GTA and one in Vancouver, but we see the need to open many, many more because we are almost at full capacity, and we've been open for less than a year, and we haven't finished our outreach yet either.
And what's the full capacity of your houses right now?
So the GTA one is 12, and same with Vancouver, it's 12 as well. So for us, it's important for us to fundraise. For us, even to run the houses that we have right now, is important for us to fundraise. So we are Zakat eligible because all the women, we go through a Zakat application with them as well to make sure they're eligible for it. So for us, that's funding is important. Getting the word out there is important, and educating women about, you know, what they are entitled to, and kind of showing them that, you know, you don't have to stay in a situation where you're not happy. That's important for us as well. So we actually have brothers who call in and they're like, we know of this sister who is going through this, and we would appreciate if you could call her, reach out to her, have a conversation. She doesn't necessarily have to move in with us, but have a conversation, kind of, you know, walk her through some things. And we've done that a number of times. We've had calls from brothers who are like, I know my sister's friend is going through something like this, and I'd appreciate if you gave her a call and just spoke to her a bit. And, you know, there's no pressure on them from us that, you know, leave right now and come with us. That's not what we do. We give them the options. We lay out everything in front of them and are just there to support them. So even if they don't move in with us, we still continue to support them through the phone, or if they have any issues, they can email us anytime. So it's not only people who are living with us that we're helping, but it's also anyone else that we've come in contact with.
And I think it's really powerful. You just mentioned that you have brothers and men who are, you know, also supporting the initiative. So it's about, indirectly, you're also educating men about this very important issue.
And a lot of men, I mean, are out there and they're very good people. Society as a whole, I believe, is good. So, I mean, if they're out there and they're telling us that these are issues that we're seeing, like, that's something that we encourage, because if people who are seeing it are not going to speak out, how are we going to know about it, and how are we going to help people?
This was very inspirational to me personally, so thank you very much,
No
Zena.
problem. Thank you for having me.